Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom to the Torah, Shaz, Yasha Allah, giving the course, all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashak, Wamalak, YAHAWASHI. That's all praises, honor, glorification unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, YAHAWASHI. It's a brother Yasha Allah coming back, y'all, yet another video through the Spirit and power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashak, Wamalak, YAHAWASHI. All right, shalom, shalom. So I'm gonna get straight into this, right? It's going into the book of John, chapter 13 and verse 7. All right, book of John, chapter 13 and verse 7. So, let's get that precept real quick. I might start at verse 6. All right, John, chapter 13 and verse 6. And it reads, remember, John, chapter 13, this is when YAHAWASHI is washing the disciples' feet, right? John, chapter 13 and verse 5. I'm going to just start at verse 5. It says, and after that, he poureth water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and wiped them with a towel wherewith he was girded. So YAHAWASHI was literally washing the apostles' feet, right? He sat, whatever position they were in, but he sat down, basically, or kneeled down and got a basin, which is basically like a bucket, poured water in that, and was washing the disciples' feet and drying it off and wiping them with the towel that he had on, right? Verse 6, then cometh he to Simon Peter, right? And Peter said unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? So Peter, remember, when you read the Gospels, Peter is one of the diehards for YAHAWASHI, right? Remember when YAHAWASHI was going to be delivered, YAHAWASHI was talking about being delivered. YAHAWASHI said, hey, where you, or Salaki, Peter said to YAHAWASHI, hey, where you go, I'm going to go, right? And then, I believe that's in the book of John, right? YAHAWASHI said, Peter's like, hey, there's nowhere I will go, right? There's nowhere else I would go except for following you, roughly paraphrasing. And YAHAWASHI had to check him, YAHAWASHI even said to him, hey, before the cock crowed, thou shouldst deny me thrice, Peter. What are you talking about? But basically, Peter was one of the diehards for YAHAWASHI, and he said, what? And Peter said unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Hey, Peter's like, hey, stop washing my feet. You're our master. Why are you washing our feet? You know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to be washing your feet, But Peter, at this point, he didn't understand why the Lord was doing this. And that's why the Lord says in the book of John 13, verse 7, right? Let's go to verse 7. YAHAWASHI answered and said unto him, what I do, thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. See? The YAHAWASHI said, what I'm doing, right? What I do, thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. And so we can take this verse and actually apply it to our lives right now. That's what YAHAWASHI is saying to us sometimes. That's what the Most High is saying to us sometimes. When we're put in a certain predicament, something might happen to us. Maybe you get fired from your job. Maybe your woman left you. Maybe, things are not going your way, right? Or maybe things are going your way. But literally, sometimes what the Most High does for us, we don't know why he's doing it, right? The Lord says, hey, what I do now, thou knowest not, thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Later on, you might know. Later on, when you look back at this situation, and you read through the precepts and apply it, you might actually understand why I did this. But right now, you're not going to understand it. And that's the thing with certain of our situations. You might get fired from your job and you might be like, what the hell? I'm doing everything that I can. I'm reading, I'm praying, I'm fasting. I got fired from my job, man. But hey, though you may not understand why the Lord had that happen to you. Now, hey, as time progresses, you're going to understand why the Lord did that, because, hey, you could pray for discernment, you could pray for understanding, because, hey, that's what our forefathers did as well. Now, let's get some precepts, you know what I'm saying? Let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10, right, the classic. It's the book of Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 23. Oh, Lord, I know not, oh, Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. So it's not, the way of man is not in himself. The Lord directs his steps, right? Not man. So that's why we may not understand why the Lord is having certain things happen to us, right? Hey, the Lord, he's a mastermind. He understands fully why he's doing this to you. Remember, in the book of Sirach, let's get this real quick. Sirach chapter 39. Hey, the Lord knows exactly what he's doing to you. You know, he's already planned it out. Sirach chapter 39 and verse number 33. All the works of the Lord are good. It says all the works. All the works of the Most High are good. Even the stuff that may seem like it's evil, right? Hey, all the works of the Lord are good. It says, and he will give every needful thing in due season. So the Lord knows exactly what he's doing to us. And we know that all things work together for good to those that love the Most High. All right, let's go to Romans. If you're part of the elect, hey, everything that happens to you is for your benefit. Ultimately, right? Let's go to Romans in the bigger picture. Right? Romans chapter 8 and verse 28. It says, right, Salaki, right? Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God and to them who are called according to his purpose. So all things work together for good to those that love the Most High. If you love the Most High, right, and you're part of the elect, everything that happens to you is for your benefit, right? It's for your benefit. Because ultimately, you're going to get the kingdom of heaven because you are already predestined to get it. You know? So everything that happens to you, every little small thing is just leading you up to the kingdom of heaven. Right? To you getting into that chariot. To you obtaining everlasting life. To you enduring the wilderness, etc., etc. All these little things are leading up to that one thing. Right? And likewise for the wicked. Right? Let's get this in book of Proverbs 16, the classic as well. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 4. Verse 3. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Right? Salakia. Verse 4. The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So the Lord has made the wicked for the day of evil. Right? Now, on the flip side, just like how the righteous, everything that they do for the righteous, for the just, for the elect, everything that they do, it's for good to them. And everything that happens to them is for good. And it ultimately leads them up to the kingdom of heaven. But on the flip side, for the wicked, everything that the wicked does and the Most High has the wicked to do leads them to what? Their destruction. You know? Every single thing. It plays into part. It's the stone. It's like a puzzle. Right? You need each piece of the puzzle to create that bigger picture. You can't just leave out a certain part of the puzzle. We need all of that. You know what I'm saying? So when the Most High does something to us, we don't understand. We may not understand it because remember, the Lord is literally controlling us, right? Like, let's say you're playing a game. Let's say you're playing GTA, whatever, right? You're controlling the man. Let's say you're playing as Michael, right? You know, if you have played GTA, you know about GTA 5. You know the characters, right? So let's say you're playing as Michael. You're controlling Michael, right? And you're playing it, right? And of course, that's kind of like that situation that we have on Earth. It's kind of like a physical representation of how the Most High controls us in a certain way, because the Most High is basically the person that is controlling, that has the controller, and we're the person that's being controlled. Okay, that's how the Most High operates, right? So, in a sense, ultimately, right? Because we know that everything is predestined to the Lord. So, if you're controlling that person, and let's say Michael, or the person in the game in GTA, let's say it has a conscience. Let's just say it has a conscience. Let's say you want to rob a bank. Maybe they don't understand why you want to rob a bank. Maybe they, let's say you're just killing people, random people on the street. They may not understand that. They may not understand why you're doing that, right? But you're doing it. You have a plan in your mind, right? So the same thing, if that makes sense, the same thing with the Lord. The Lord has a plan for you and for me, but we may not understand the steps that lead to that plan, the steps that are in that plan. We may not understand it fully now, but hey, we're going to know hereafter, right? We're going to know after, right? If the Lord will. Because remember, ultimately, the Lord doesn't have to answer us, right? He can give you the reason, but he can hide it from you, right? Let's go to that too. Let's go on the flip side, right? Job chapter 33. Right? This is the book of Job, chapter 33, and verse 12. Behold, in this thou art not just, I will answer thee, that God is greater than man. So ultimately, the Most High will do it as he pleases, and he doesn't have to answer to any man because the Most High is greater than man, right? We know that for sure. But the Most High can have compassion on us and allow us to understand why he's doing certain things, right? Verse 13. Why doest thou strive against him? For he giveth not account of any of his matters. The Most High doesn't have to give account of any of his matters. He doesn't have to come down and break down every single thing to you. You know what I'm saying? Of why he did this, why he made you to, go here, why he made this person to do this and say this to you at this particular time. He doesn't have to do that. He can do as he pleases. You can question him all you want, and he may not answer. All right. Now, there's nothing wrong, with wondering why the Most High might have done something. But the thing is, he may answer you. You may get the answer hereafter, but you may not. You know what I'm saying? The Most High says what? For he giveth not account of any of his matters. Right? So he doesn't have to break it down to you, but he can have that compassion onto you and still give you that answer hereafter. Right? For God speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. So the Most High can speak to you and give you that answer, man. All right, going back to the book of John chapter 13 and verse 7. All right. John chapter 13 verse 7. All right. It says, YAHAWASHI answered and said unto him, what I do, thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Right? What I do now to you, you're not, you may not understand, but you're going to understand later. Right? That's the compassion of the Lord. Because remember, the Lord doesn't have to do that. The Lord doesn't have to do anything. Right? The Lord didn't have to create you. The Lord didn't have to wake you up today. The Lord didn't have to bring you into the truth. He didn't have to do any of this. He's not entitled. He's not restricted under any rules. He's doing this out of his pleasure, right? Remember, let's go to that real quick in Revelation. All right. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 4 and verse 9. And when those beasts give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who liveth forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him that worship, before him that sat on the throne, and worship him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. For thy pleasure, right? Hey, you're here right now for the Most High's pleasure, man. Ultimately, you know what I'm saying? You're here watching a video for the Most High's pleasure and of his will, right? So the Most High doesn't have to do anything. It's only of the Most High's grace will he give you that answer why he did something, because he can reveal that answer to you. Remember, the Most High, he speaketh once, yet twice, right? Through a vision, he can speak to you, give you the answer through a vision. He can give you the answer through counsel, right? He can give you the answer while you're reading a precept and be like, oh, shoot, and the Spirit's supping with you. And you come across a precept where a situation within the precepts, like you might read certain accounts, of your forefathers that went through the same thing, etc., etc. It could be a number of ways how the Most High can reveal that answer to you, but he can very well, again, reveal that answer to you out of his compassion, out of his grace, out of his long suffering. You know what I'm saying? So right? Let's get another precept real quick. Right? Let's get a classic. Right? I'm gonna get a classic and I'm gonna get one in Hebrews, Lord willing, right? But let's go to Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. All right, the classic. It says, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? It's hard for you to try to break down your own way because, again, you don't know the will of the Most High and you don't know what the Most High has in store for you in the future, right? Or you may not understand why the Most High is doing something to you, or around you or whatever, putting you in a certain situation, you may not understand that now, but you may understand it later, right? So that's with patience. That's with the Most High's long suffering as well, right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 11, all right, and verse I'm gonna start at verse 6 and skip down. It says, "But without faith it is impossible to please him, for he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." Let's get down to verse 8. "By faith Abraham, when he was called to go out to go out into a place which he should have received, which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went." So Abraham, remember, he was called out of his native country to go into the land of Canaan, right? To leave his place and go into this strange land, and he didn't know where he was going. He just trusted in the Lord. He had faith in the Lord, right? Remember, that's literally John chapter 13, right? What I do now, you don't know, but you're going to know hereafter, right? Because I'm going to break it down to you. I'm going to show you the glory that's going to come from you. I'm going to show you that your posterity is going to be great. You know what I'm saying? Verse 9, "By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles of Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise." You see that? It says, "For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is the Most High." So he didn't understand why he was leaving fully. It was by faith. He had faith in the Lord. He trusted in the Lord, and he got that answer of why he had to leave and why he was going into this strange land, which he didn't know, right? So with that, all praise to YAHAWASHI, Yahawashi, Lord willing, this is edifying. Brother Yasha Allah, Shalom.